Hey guys, Ralph here, True Power Trumpet Fitness, and welcome to Fabulous Friday. Sticky and overcast once again, rainy. I guess there's a tropical storm that's going to affect us at some point. You can feel it. It's very, very sticky. Have the ACs running, and that's it. You saw from the thumbnail probably what I'm going to do. So let's see what we got. I played a few notes today, not first notes of the day. So, double C's and happy birthday to none other than the great Doc Severinsen. And I hold my tarnished yet still playable circa 1970 Doc Severinsen Getzen Eterna model. One of the first one to have these Amada water keys. It's got a broken solder brace. The brace for the solder is broken, so I can barely use any pressure at all. I don't use any pressure anyway. But still plays. A pea shooter, baby. That's a medium bore and the good Doc Severinsen. I'll tell you what, man. Anybody that has followed these videos, forgive the hair. It's just growing too long. It's the green juice. Anyway, anybody that's followed these videos know that I adore Doc Severinsen. I mean, not only for his absolutely sublime trumpet playing, and what can be said? What can be said? He's fabulous in every sense of the word. But the cool thing is, nobody, myself included, nobody has practiced more than this man. It is 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I'd be willing to bet he is practicing while we speak. Arbin, St. Jacome, he wore out the Clark book. I mean, guys, this is absolutely, despite his immense talent, this is absolutely a self-made man. He makes no bones about it. He's gone through 4 wives because of it. The carnage because of all his practicing. I mean, he basically practiced all day long and play all night. I modeled myself after for a long time. He was my guy in high school. Very visible on the Tonight Show with those crazy outfits and all this sort of stuff. And again, got my Getzen Eterna silver. Oh, I used to polish that thing. Not anymore, obviously. I love that. And my parents, which probably made it all the more special, claimed they would only pay half. $150. I had to come up with $75. That's a lot of mowing lawns and all that sort of stuff, and trumpet lessons and everything I was teaching back then. And man, I love that thing. And it still plays, as you could hear. Now, got a story for you. Actually, I told this at the intensive as well, because we were talking about Doc. It's hard not to have, get some hairspray for my wife. Anyway, it's hard not to have 5 trumpet geeks around and not talk about Doc, right? So anyway, years ago, I was playing with my brass quintet. Great brass quintet, but that's for another video. But it was the opening at the Plaza Hotel. It was the opening of a grand opening of a Calvin Klein line, a new line of stuff. And everybody, I mean, supermodels, actors, anybody was there. Now, it was basically just a gig for us. It wasn't a performance. It was background music, chamber music while people, ran around and got drunk and all that sort of stuff. And I'm just sort of sitting there playing, Bangle Sangle Leader or whatever the heck we're playing. And just sort of droning out, And over my back, my first trumpet player's shoulder, I saw this little guy with a mustache, big smile on his face, just up and down. Yeah, baby. Sure enough, I came out of my wherever I was, and sure enough, it's Doc. Guys, take a break. It's Doc Severinsen over there, and we were surrounded him, and we couldn't stop. You know what the first thing he said to us was? To me, what size mouthpiece you use? I mean, all he wanted to do was talk shop. Just an absolute lifer. And we're talking shop, C trumpet and mouthpiece and all this sort of stuff, and gets in and all this. In the middle of it, I just interrupted. I said, Mr. Severinsen, you've been my idol since I was in high school. I don't want to make you feel uncomfortable. And he goes, oh, man. He says, if you could have heard your idol today. So his agent fixes him up at this grand opening, and he says, you know what, I might as well do a couple gigs while I'm here. So he got a couple studio things, right? And he comes out on the red eye, couldn't practice, okay? And the day before this, he says, I noodle around a couple notes in my hotel room because I didn't want to go full out. And he says, geez, everything felt great. And he says, I really thought I dodged a bullet because he said, I'm absolutely addicted to my 4 hours a day. That's what he said. Then, the next day, which was the day the studio thing, he's got nothing. He says he goes in there and felt like a fool. He's in there with Bernie Glow and Faddis and the Breckers and all that sort of stuff, the top guys in the business, and he's got nothing. And this big hot shot that came in from Los Angeles, he says it was absolutely humiliating. He says, I'm so sick and tired of spending my life worried about that little piece of skin right at the tip of my lip. He says, but it's the life we chose, right? And we go on talking. And I'll tell you what, guys, it's the work ethic that just amazes me. Amazes me. And I can't begin to tell you how many times back in the day, not so much anymore because he's not as much on the scene as he was, but for the longest time, for you younger guys, he was the most visible, easily the most visible trumpet player in the world. And the fact that he was just so fabulous was great to us, because it could have been some schmo, that had a top 10 record or something, and y'all know what I'm talking about. But guys, he was a virtuoso, and he just, by the sheer force of his will, turned himself into a virtuoso. And I'll tell you what, it's hours and hours and hours. And there is a video on YouTube, and I'm not sure the name of it, but he's doing a clinic somewhere, and it's like a 4-hour clinic where he shows all the guys, a college clinic, what he goes through every day to make himself Doc Severinsen. And I'll tell you what, man, he starts with long tones like so many people, and guys, it sounds terrible. And an hour later, he's into the Clark book, and it sounded a little better. And 3 hours into it, it sounded, by the 4th hour, okay, he's Doc again. But it was like torture. I'm telling you, the amount of work that goes in to making him Doc Severinsen is off the charts. And geez. As I said, I'd be willing to bet, as we speak, he's practicing. Probably Clark or Arbin or something like that. Just somebody to look up to. I mean, an idol in the truest sense. It's very, very rare that, with trumpet especially, the nature of the chops and that it is, that somebody is just so talented, they can just mail it in. They don't have to work at it. That's very, very rare, okay? But Doc was just the opposite. I'm not saying he didn't have talent, but there is no mailing it in whatsoever with this guy. Every multiple tone, and you can hear the Arbin in his playing. You can hear, and he wasn't a natural jazz soloist either. And I told you, my guy Mel Broyles, who used to do a lot of studio stuff with him back in the day, said that he wasn't always the screamer that he was. by any means. He was a good lead player, F and G and whatnot, but he wasn't always the double C guy. He said he turned himself into that. Guys, God bless you. Doc, I'm sure you're not going to see this. And if you do, please. 91 years young, God bless you. I hope you live 100 more, and I guarantee you, if you live 100 to 191, I guarantee you put 3 hours in before you end up with the rest of us. Anyway, Doc, we love you. I know I speak for many, many trumpet players that agree the same thing. And happy 91st, and enjoy your double C's. I'm sure you'll honk a couple today. Okay, guys, that's it for Friday. We'll talk again on Monday. And eat your fruits and vegetables. Thick bottom lip. Boom. Love you all. Live your life with true power.